As you know, Lester is approaching, and we're under hurricane watch for the city and county of Honolulu. But we also, I think, have somewhat good news to report this morning. As you can see from the chart behind us, Lester is taking a northerly pattern. It's what we hoped because of the low pressure system above the islands is kind of pulling the hurricane that direction. And just like a long hose, when it starts going north at the end, the whole thing moves. And so as you can see, the city and county of Honolulu, the island of Oahu, is outside of that zone of uncertainty or cone of uncertainty. But that means if Lester were to take a little bit more of a track to the left, we would fall within more impacts. And so we're not letting our guard down. But we want to let people know, at least on this island, that perhaps the impact that we thought would come may not come. But we're going to continue to plan just in case. The other thing I want to emphasize, hurricanes that come from the north don't have the same amount of impact as hurricanes that come from the south. Iniki came from the south. Darby, the tropical storm, came from the south. When you have a southern approach like this here, coming from the right and up, what happens, there's more rain, more wind on that northwest quadrant of the storm. And that's what we saw with Darby, even as a tropical storm. With Lester, we're seeing this approach, and Oahu is to the left of this. The impact is on the right-hand side, and so that's good news. Now, having said that, what are we doing? We're going to activate our Emergency Operations Center tomorrow at 6 o'clock, just to be careful. The hurricane is a Category 2 hurricane, and it is weakening. And it's moving faster than Darby and all of us like that because we want it to go by our islands as quickly as possible. The impacts from Lester will start to be felt tomorrow afternoon, Saturday afternoon, and into Sunday morning, with the real onslaught around 3 or 4 in the morning. So we want people to be ready. We want people to be prepared just in case and to follow the instructions that you receive through your local media. The winds are going to be 30 to 40 miles per hour, so, you know, God, we're having gusty trades right now above that. So, but we will have stronger winds. We have a plan to open 6 shelters if we need to, but we're not going to do that now. We're going to see what we learn from the National Weather Service. Tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock, we'll be gathering here to get the latest update. And if it shows that Lester has changed course, then we'll implement the plan of opening shelters. We hope we don't have to. We have camping. You know, this is Labor Day weekend, one of the last hurrahs before the end of summer. We have 205 campsites. Each campsite has permits to up to 10 people. That's a lot of people, and we have several large ones too. And we had a discussion, do we cancel those permits at this point? We don't want to do that. We want to allow people to continue to plan to camp, but we want to ask those campers to pay attention to their local media to find out, and of course to be ready. It's going to be a wet weekend. We are going to get some rain. But if necessary, we will announce tomorrow that we're canceling those permits. But right now, people's permits are safe and they can proceed to plan on camping. All of our over 300 parks will continue to remain open, although we're going to be monitoring Hanauma Bay. As you know, we closed it with Darby. Depending on the surf there, we may close it, but for right now, Hanauma Bay is going to remain open. We are expecting surf in the 20 to 35 foot range on the North Shore and the East Shore. A lot more surf than came with Darby, and we want people to be careful there. We're going to ask Mark Rigg to say a few words. So, Mark, you want to come up and just emphasize to everyone how careful they need to be. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Mark Rigg with the Emergency Services Department. We'd like to give you some information regarding the high surf on the east side and some things to think about to stay safe this weekend. As the mayor said, we expect high surf tomorrow morning. Our captains will be up at sunrise at Hanauma Bay on the east side of the island monitoring the high surf, and they will provide an advisory to the Parks Department and DEM whether to close Hanauma Bay. So that will be determined by tomorrow morning early. We'll have that determination made. As I said, there's high surf on the east side. We expect surges, and these surges are increased at the high tide. High tides are at 5:15 a.m. and about 5:15 p.m. tomorrow. The tide drops during the midday. Please be careful on the beaches. If you are going to the beach, stay off the wet sand, stay off the rocky ledges, and if you're not an experienced ocean person, I would advise staying out of the water completely. Also keep in mind the high winds can cause things to blow. Typically when people go to the beach with their surfboards, their stand-up boards, their canoes and their kayaks, pay special attention to your watercraft, because those things can blow away too. Keep in mind, if you do decide to go in the ocean with a kayak, a stand-up board, or a surfboard, or a canoe, that these things can get away from you and blow away as well. So you can get stranded in the ocean, your board, your whatever can blow away. So be very careful if you decide to go in the ocean. Some paddlers like to go downwind and ride the swells downwind. So be particularly careful on that. As far as emergency medical services, we expect the high winds to be a potential for power outages. If your family member or someone you know is relying on oxygen at home or a ventilator, keep in mind that you might want to have a backup generator available in case the power goes out to continue those services at home. Emergency medical services will not be transporting to shelters. They will only be transporting to hospital emergency rooms. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Along the same lines as surf, as you know, with the storm surge, it could in fact impact people's property on the North Shore. So we're asking homeowners out there to be vigilant, to be careful. The good news is a lot of sand is returned with the summer, so there's more buffer, but people need to be careful. If there's any negative impact, we ask people to call 911 to report it so we can respond quickly, both on the state level and on the city level. As you know, there are a lot of events going on around this island because of Labor Day. Many of them have been canceled. You know, the Okinawan Festival, unfortunately, has been canceled. Just want to get that word out there again. The Labor Day Labor Picnic at the Shell on Monday has been canceled. The Aloha Festival festivities kickoff has been canceled. It'll be rescheduled. But the IUCN is going strong. And hopefully the impacts of Lester will be minimal, and our participants will all continue to enjoy their time here and also share the information on how to be a better planet in terms of our environment. For those folks who live in the Wahiawa area and they drive by Lake Wilson, they may notice that the lake is a little higher than normal. It's usually down at the 65-foot level. It's about 78.5 feet. That's because we've had a very, very wet summer, and a lot of water has been going into the lake from that whole plain up there. So we're monitoring it very carefully. We're working with Department of Land and Natural Resources and the private sector to make sure that the water level is such that we don't need to worry. And should there be a need, we will take action regarding Lake Wilson. There's a spillway that handles any overflow of water. So the good news with Lester is we think the rain impact will be minimal there, but want to let people know we're monitoring it, and in case people are concerned. With that, I'm going to open up to any questions. We have all of our first responders here. We appreciate what they do. It's been a busy summer. When you think about, we weren't supposed to have as many storm events, so we've had a number, and we've had now, I think, for the first time, one after another. I don't think that's ever happened before. So they've been working really hard, and I want to thank all of them, and of course, all the other city personnel, whether it be DFM, who's been clearing streams like crazy, or you have ENV that's ready in case we have more rain coming in, parks, and of course, police, fire, and EMS. With that, any questions you have, we'll ask our various partners to answer them.
That spillway, is that on private property or is it on public property in the city, like
Where the dam is and where the spillway is on private property. It's Dole Foods. And we've been talking to them. We'd be working with them if necessary, should action need to be taken. But the spillway can handle massive volumes of water, probably about 20 times what is coming out of the gate where water comes out right now.
If you do have to open the shelters, is there bus service? I know you've done that in the past.
Yes. We'd roll out bus service. We'd reach out to our homeless population. We'd send buses to where they are to bring people into shelter. A number of the shelters will be pet friendly. So it'll be like we've done in the past, and we'll help people get there if they can't get there on their own.
Some of our viewers are wondering if the camping permits end up being canceled tomorrow, will they get refunds?
Jeannie, do you want to answer that? Okay, Jesse, if I touch the microphone, you're going to get pissed, right?
It's fine.
Okay.
Hi. So yes, right now the camping permits are all in effect. If we have to cancel, there will be refunding process, and we'll get that information out on our website, on our parks website. Thank you.
Other questions? I have to say I'm somewhat optimistic. You know, we always plan for the worst and hope for the best. And I was concerned about Lester, the track it was taking. But when they started talking about the low pressure system above and pulling Lester north, I think it's a good thing. You know, people need to know that we're always going to plan for the worst. And we don't want people to let their guard down. You know, they become fatigued and say, we don't need to worry. We need to pay attention. You saw with Darby, people driving around on Sunday evening getting stuck on H1 and then getting upset because they were stuck on H1 when we repeatedly said through the weekend, only go out if you absolutely have to. And yet the freeway was choked with cars on Sunday evening. So please, depending on what you get from your local media, I ask the residents of the city and county of Honolulu to take precaution if they're asked to do so that they don't inconvenience themselves or put their life or their family members' lives at risk.
Sir, I think probably it's the biggest concern
Yes.
that we're looking at, I guess, on the east side. I don't know what your message to people living near the shoreline in those areas, what would you like to tell them?
But one is just be aware, be cautious, and most importantly, I think if you start to see the surf get close to your home and undermine your foundations, we do want to know about it. We want to get our first responders there to help. We want to make sure that people are safe and protected. And so don't just watch it happen, but let us know. And I think also let the media know, too.
Mayor, I'm not
Okay.
sure what the status is of the store ordinance enforcement. Backed off on that last couple of days.
We have not backed off, but Ross, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we're out there continuing our enforcement efforts. But you want to add to that?
Sure. Good morning. I'm Ross Sasamura, Director and Chief Engineer of the Department of Facility Maintenance. Our Stored Property Ordinance and Sidewalk Nuisance Ordinance Enforcement team continues to be vigilant and respond to any issues that relate to any infrastructure problems from encampments or private property that's illegally stored on public property. They'll continue to do so. Largely, our efforts have been focused on areas that impact the public as they traverse sidewalks and other public property, city property. We'll continue to do that as much as we can as the weather allows us. Because this bad weather is expected to happen over the weekend when our crew is normally off, we don't anticipate that it'll have any impact on our operations.
Can you go to the focus on Waikiki with the big Congress and Town convention?
We've been going back to Waikiki repeatedly anyway as a matter of regular response to complaints that we receive. But we do take an active role in maintaining the clear zone on the Alawai Promenade behind the convention center clear as well. So we'll continue to do that as we begin the next week to follow, making sure that all of those areas that are established for no entry remain so. And if there's any private property that we have to collect and store, we'll do so at that time.
Ross, you're great.
Thank you.
Thanks. Any other questions? We will stick around for individual questions if you want. I'd ask our team here, the first responders and others, to be available.
And as you
Also,
just saw
some of the
here
guys out there,
live,
tell
Mayor
them- ask
Kurt
them not to
Caldwell
leave.
talking about preps and the possibility
Thanks.
of
Okay, thanks,
Lester
folks. Really-
hitting the islands. It doesn't seem like anything is very imminent right now. Shelters, of course, not open yet. They're not even sure if they're going to open shelters. If they do, it'll be 6 shelters, but they're not going to make that decision until tomorrow.
Yeah, his message really at the end of the day is just be vigilant, stay tuned to the media, listen to the reports on KHON2, and just do what you got to do to keep your family prepared and have prepared, because Lester is still a very, very powerful storm. It's a Category 2 storm with winds up to 105 miles per hour. So it is big. It is continuing with, I feel like Kelly right now, but it is continuing with that north track, northwest at this point. As long as it maintains that north track, we're going to be in okay. We're not, right now, none of the Hawaiian Islands is in the cone of uncertainty, as you can see right there. Thank you for our director for pushing that. But it will be passing the Hawaiian Islands as a Category 1 hurricane. And not until it passes Kauai will it actually become a tropical storm.
The next update coming in less than an hour at 11. Of course, we'll provide that to you online. So Facebook page or our website, khon2.com. But as the mayor also mentioned, you can't predict Mother Nature. So there could still be a chance that it would move and shift slightly, so you don't know the exact impact.
2 words, Hurricane Iniki. I mean, Hurricane Iniki was due south and all of a sudden took a turn up north. We want to let you know, before we sign off, we want to let you know about the other closures, at least for now, planned on Maui County later today. All public schools, courthouses, judiciary offices in Maui County will close at noon today, no matter what the 11 o'clock update gives.
County employees will also get to leave work at that time, except for those helping with emergency management operations. Maui County has issued an emergency proclamation in anticipation of the storm. And again, their shelters are expected to open at 5 p.m., but we talked to Civil Defense Live this morning on Wake Up Today, and they even said they're not 110% sure about that 5 p.m. time now. They might even open shelters later. They don't know the
fewer shelters as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But we'll keep you posted online, of course, here on air.
And again, Hawaii Island no longer under a hurricane watch, but Oahu and Maui County are still under hurricane watch, at least until 11 o'clock. We've got a team actually heading to Maui to cover all the preparations and any impact from Lester on the Valley Isle. Our crews will be monitoring the storm all day long right here on KHON2. We have our web team posting as quickly as possible, accurate and information that you need to know on KHON2.com and all our social media platforms.
All right. And for the latest information on air, stick with Howard Deshevsky and Marissa Yamani and Justin Cruz, who will all be back tonight at 5 p.m. But thanks for watching this special edition.
This has been a special report from the KHON2 News.